All right, so what we're taking a look at here is a Google spreadsheet that we can do some pretty basic things to make capturing observational data pretty simple. And that's the goal here is that we have a common scoring guide for our fluency interview and our problem solving tasks, in that we're going to be looking for student strategies and going beyond just an accurate answer. So we're looking to see when students perform these tasks, are they immediately recalling the fact? Are they using a known fact? Like when we're taking a look at 9 plus 9, maybe they take one off the second 9 and put it with the first 9 and say, well, I know 10 plus 8 is 18. So they're using a known fact when they make a 10, or they use the doubles plus 1, something that would help them use addition to help them solve subtraction, etc. The second one here, level 2, is a counting on strategy. So they might start at 9 and keep counting on 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. However, but if we see students counting all, meaning they have to touch and count each item, or use cubes and solve by touching and counting every single cube to solve a problem, or drawing something and having to draw every single circle to solve it, we know they're counting all of the items. So we're looking for those behaviors to think about where they are and how efficient their strategies are to help us decide what to do next instructionally. So what you're seeing here is the teacher name goes at this section of the spreadsheet, and student names go here. What I'm going to show us how to do is how to make a 4321 drop down so that you don't have to type immediate recall or type known fact, etc., but that you can just drop down using that. So we go to data and data validation, and we're going to list a number of items. And all I have to do is just separate them by a comma. So we do 4, 3, 2, 1. We're also going to put not accessible, because there could be some tasks where students really can't solve them at all, right? So we want to make sure that we have that available to have an understanding of when the task was just beyond what students had access to. So I've got my 4321 in NA, and I save it. And so what you can see is now it's available for me to click it, and I can choose whichever number based on what I'm seeing and observing from the student. But what we also want to do is include some color with it, because this is helping us to sort of see at a glance what the overall student is doing. So I'm going to go again into data. Let's see, no, format, sorry, conditional formatting. My apologies. So we're going to go to conditional formatting, and you can see that I get to really choose my colors and determine all the things. So I'm going to say my text starts with the value 4, and I'm going to start and use that same color blue and do all the things that I did up above. So I've got the light blue, the dark blue writing, and I bolded it so that that's what will happen when I click the number 4. And I can continue adding the rules. My text starts with a 3, it will be green, and it is the default green, so I can leave it there, but I'm going to just use that dark green and bold it again. Add a rule if my text starts with 2. There we go. And then if my text starts with a 1, we're going to have it be pink. And then finally, if my text starts with no access, we're going to just color that a dark gray. And then I use a white to make it stand out. All right, so now you can see that whatever I click, it turns the appropriate color. Now I want this to be available for all the tasks that we're using, and I can just delete it It won't take any of the color away, but it doesn't have a value stated now. So I can just drag it all the way across, and then I can drag it down for every single student in my classroom. If partway through the year you get another student, it's very easy to just add more children to the mix. And again, you can highlight this row and just drag it, or you can copy and paste it and your data validation is ready to go. And you can do the clicking and the observing and the recording of this data very easily. I usually have this open while I'm actually doing the interview so that I can record what students are doing as we go. Sometimes teachers like to just write down the 4, 3, 2, 1s and record it later on, like they'll have just a little template worksheet in front of them. But either way you're comfortable, it is definitely possible to record and score as we go along. So now we know that we're going to be looking for an overall proficiency. And when we know that there's a common strategy across the board where they are typically using immediate recall for most of these, then we could determine that they were at this level 4. Occasionally, if they have to use another strategy, that's okay. But what we're looking for is overall a lot of blue, and then we could consider them beyond proficient. Or overall, there's a lot of green. If it's a mixed bag, you're going to want to go and drop down to the level prior, because they know we still need some instruction there. And that's what these comments are all about. Maybe they can do using a known fact for certain problems, but others, they're still in a count on stage. So we might want to make a comment about which problems they still need work on, or a trend that we've seen, or something that we might want to note, so that instructionally we have additional information. So there still is room for our anecdotal notes, but we have less need to articulate it there. But we do want to state an overall level of proficiency. So I'm also going to show us how we're going to do that as well. So you can see we have beyond proficient, proficient, close to proficient, and far. And that's going to help us really group kids into like groups to help target their needs after we've given this assessment. So again, I'm going to go to data validation, and I'm going to do a list of items. And I'm just going to use those words: beyond proficient, oops, proficient, close to proficient, far from proficient. And since I've separated them each by the comma, it's going to do this drop-down list just like before. So again, you can see I've got all the words that I need, but I also want to go back and really format and make sure that the colors match as well. So if my text starts with beyond, then I'm going to go into my blue color, just like before. Oops, I'm going to go with the default there, and my dark green. Close to proficient was our default yellow. And then we add the last. Text starts with far from proficient. And we are ready then to consider each child. And then again, like I said, it will help us target students and group them according to needs, and provide some differentiated instruction. So we're all set to go, so I can close out of that. You can see that if I click any of those terms after looking at student thinking, I can label them all. I'm going to again, I can just delete it. It doesn't take anything away. It just takes away the fact that I've already scored it. And I don't have to make it for every single column or every single cell. I can just drag it. All right, so I'm also going to show one last thing, and it's a formula that helps us know. I'm going to grab it right from here. So this way I can actually count the number of students that are proficient. So I am going to, oops, undo. I'm going to make sure that I click the cell down here that is beyond proficient, because you can see that there are some pretty key words here, and you do need to follow it exactly without spacing if it doesn't require spacing, etc. So equals, count if, parentheses. And then you can see the orange tells me the cells. So I want this to start at cell 5, but I actually need it to go all the way down because I have 21 students. I need it to go down to 25. You can see that down here, student number 21 is in row 25. So Q5, and it's really not Q either. I'm looking at it. It's column P, so I have to change that. So do you see how we're noting the column and the range? And then we do a comma and a space and quotation marks. Equals beyond proficient, another quotation, and then we can cap off with the parentheses. We do the fraction slash and the number of students in the class. And that way it'll give us a correct and accurate count. And I just hit enter. And you can see that right now there are 0 kids that are beyond proficient. But if I start to click students, I start to get a number. Now, we might not want this awful decimal. So we're going to go to format and we're going to go to number. And you can see that I've been doing this quite a bit. So my computer is remembering that I like to see fractions. It's a little easier for me to see how many students out of the total. But I'm going to do custom number because I don't see 21. And so I'm just going to change it right here and apply it. And now look at that. It is 3 out of 21, and it will continue to update as you move things around or as you delete. It will do that very same thing. And I like, again, I'm just a color person. I like when things match. It helps us really see and kind of make those distinctions. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this formula because it's easier for me than having to deal with it from the beginning. I'm going to click the proficient cell and I'm just going to alter it. So again, it is P5 through P25 that we're dealing with, only now it's not beyond proficient. It's if it says proficient, right? And I can click enter. So I'm going to bold it, make it my dark green color. And you can see that if I start clicking proficient, there we go. I'm just going to have to change that number again. So format, number, and it's just there because I added it to my to my list just a few moments ago. And I'm going to keep doing this very same process of copying the formula, clicking the next cell, and then just changing it close to proficient. And you can see I had a close to proficient. I'll put a far in here as well. We're going to, again, just copy paste, hit enter, and there it is. So now I'm able to go back into format, number, choose my out of 21 students, and then simply change my color the way that I would like to. And we are all set to go for taking a look at how many students are beyond, proficient, close, and far to set our goals for next time and to make our instructional decisions. Hope this was helpful. Thanks so much.